Wildcarding.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 116 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today is the real FPL guru, Scott Williams, and Mr. Wales himself. So, I mean, Mr. Differential himself. Barry Stokes loves he's sporting his Wales top because they got a win yesterday. Bellamy in, Bellamy all the way. Baz, how are you doing today?
Brilliant, mate. To be honest, was there cheering them on for the first half, and the second half I was biting my nails because it was all Montenegro. So yeah. But yeah, I'm in Bristol, so just a bit over the border, over the bridge. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad they got the win for you to go and see them as well. So that is nice for you. And thanks for the video yesterday of your favourite boy Harry Wilson putting the ball in the net for the penalty spot. Very much appreciated in our WhatsApp group. Mr. Guru, Scott,
Yo.
top 10 in the league. Bad week last week, to be fair, but first bad week for a while. But how are you doing?
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. It was a bad week, but I was laid on the beach in Spain, so it kind of made up for it. So I honestly can't remember what happened last week. Did football the week before, what happened like that. But yeah, if someone said to be top 10 at this point in the second international break in our league with what 100 odd people in it, I'd have bitten their hands off. So yeah, very, very good. As always, this is the first time I've looked at my fantasy team since went on international break, and there's a few red flags knocking around. I was hoping Barco would be back from loan, but apparently not.
Bloody Barco, eh? Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit. I mean, a lot of these flags are just you have to wait for the press conferences to go past because half of them have just ducked the internationals rather than actually been injured. So yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit. But don't forget to follow us. Social media platforms, Upper Pod, Upper P, Twitter, Instagram. And if you still follow me on TikTok, thank you for your loyalty. And don't forget to give us 5 stars where we get your podcasts from, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, wherever that may be. Don't forget to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel and join our legions of followers. Legions. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. We are going to touch on a little bit of the season so far, and then we're going to get stuck into wildcard stuff and go through bits and bats, position by position. I do have some league admin to do, first of all, of course. So, congratulations to Manager of the Week, Kasim Ahmadi. Well done, Kasim. 92 points you got that week. What a week, because Scott got 36. So it shows that how much of an absolutely insane week there's. You were 6,000th in the world out of 10.5 million managers. That's a hell of a week right there. A hell of a week. 92 points. Allison in goal, Burn, Trippier, and Trent. Saka, Bernardo, Jota, captain, and Bumo, Gibbs White, and then Watkins and Wood. So yeah, nice. I think you had an auto trans. Yeah, you were Isak was in, and Gibbs White came in for you. So 2 points for 2 points extra there. So congratulations to you for a fantastic week. And if you'd have captain Saka, you'd have got over it. You'd have got a ton. So there you go. League itself is pretty much as it stands, really. The Sams at the top, Mark Kieran, Dennis James, Harry Ha, Marco, Ahmad, and Scotty as your top
Clinging
10.
on.
And yeah, where's how far back is your mum's dropped out the top 20 now? Oh dear. But I tell you what, she's still not that far behind, is she? Because 465 versus 449 in the Battle of the Williamses, and he's still 16
Close.
points in it. Yeah, come on, Judy. We've got some results of the 3 week punt that Scott didn't even know we were doing. Can you see that, lads? By the way, that graphic on the
Yeah.
screen. Yep, great stuff. So Scott was absolutely livid because we made this into a proper feature, and he went ahead and won it, didn't he? It's just going well so far. So I went for Ramsey and Somerville. I got 7 points combined, and both of them went down in ownership. Those were very bad gambles. Baz, Saboslai, 6 points. So yeah, mine were fifth and sixth out of the lot. God, that's terrible. I didn't even notice that. Saboslai was 6 points. Baz, Sancho with 15 points though. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good gambo's gone up actually 2% owned, 2.7% owned now. So yeah, I think people are trying to get on the Sancho wagon, but not as much as Mike McNeil's bandwagon because he's like 8.9% owned now, flying.
See, from 1.6 to 8.9 in 3
It's a Scott
weeks.
factor there. Scott factor.
There we go.
Um,
The man of the
it's,
people.
I can't lie, Scott, though. As soon as you picked him in this, I put him in my draft team and he's absolutely smashed it for me the last 3 weeks. So I went with
There
your
you go.
punt on it and you did really well. And Calvert-Lewin with 5. But yeah, to wrap up that one, Dwight McNeil and Jadon Sancho were the 2 players to go for. And obviously fixture dependent moving forward. Chelsea's fixtures the next 4 aren't that great. But moving forward, Sancho seems pretty locked in that team. And McNeil's looking like he's finally realising his young talent prospect tag that he's had for many, many years. So, yeah, well done to you on that one, Scott. And let's look at the differential draft for this season so far. Differential draft, our season differential so far, and where we're up to after game week 7. I've got Jota with 34 points, has done pretty well. Ben Brereton with only 9. Baz, Doku, and Carvalho both doing pretty well. Carvalho seems to be looking not too bad. 18 points as well.
Yeah, it was a proper gamble on anyway on that one, and obviously he's come into the team and he's doing well, so hopefully he can stay in that.
Yeah, he's done well this year, obviously being out as well. He's kind of coming in that middle position, that front 3 with Sharda and Mbeumo. He's definitely not a bad shout, especially for a draft pick and maybe a short term pick. I don't know how long this is out for, but seems like he looks quite good. Doc is obviously in and out of the team now. Scott, you've got the worst and the best picks so far this season. Fulkrug, interesting. He's not made the team, has he?
No, it's just West Ham. Like you had West Ham picks on the one before. Like we all expected a lot more from West Ham. We all said they recruited really well in the summer, and yeah, I didn't think Fulkrug would be hitting up, Jota points up there with 34. But I thought he'd been steady away. But yeah, another striker that brought in, not worked, and Antonio's back in there. You can't get rid of Antonio.
No, you can't really, can you? And it does, yeah. It feels like we'll see where I'll be interested to see where Fulkrug is in another 10 weeks. Like if he's not managed to make it into the team at all. Weird. Then the signing doesn't seem to have made sense. But you're winning with Madueke with the under 1%.
Yeah, I mean, I picked him purely because he finished just like Chelsea finished last season really, really well, and he looked exciting. Obviously, but always a bit of a gamble. Obviously, he wasn't that fancy on the 1% own. He didn't have a rotation, but yeah, started the season well. Obviously, got a hat trick one game, and he's just been chipping away. And it seems like, especially in the league, Chelsea and the manager, that they've got a set team now. I look at that team now, and it's like there's one, maybe 2 changes, if that. And he seems to have figured out his best 11 now, and the Madueke is in there. So it's good to see from Chelsea. It's good to see that they're not, they're not as much of a joke at the moment, and they've obviously gone, look, we're prioritising the league. We fancy getting through in the Conference League without a couple of key players. That's why he likes the Palmer's not in there. And they're doing it. They're doing it on all fronts at the minute. It's a fair play, and I think the manager's got to take a lot of credit for that.
I've got to sit here and say, look, fair play to Marseille. I think it was going to go one way or the other for him, wasn't it? Really, and it seems to be going quite well. I totally agree as well because I think the winner of the Conference League gets a place in the Europa League, don't they? And
Yeah.
they're in the Conference League, so the only chance they've got of Champions League football is the league. So I'm not surprised they are prioritising that with the amount of money spent. I mean, the owners are going to be 100%. We need the Champions League, don't we? So. But yeah, that's the differential draft side of things done. I think a nice segue into the team of the season so far. So thank you to Barry for putting this together. Barry, talk us through the team of the season so far. Who features in it, and this is 100 million total here, isn't it? So talk us through this team.
Yeah, so from the start, these are all 100 million. Obviously, price changes. Obviously, like Diaz now has gone up 0.5, and I think Mbumo has gone up 0.5 as well. But from the start, these are what the values were. So my shock was actually Onana is in goal, but he's got 39 points.
He's looked
And
class this
another,
season, Baz. He's looked class.
yeah,
He's
to be fair, he has been class. He's been Man U's best player. And then obviously the next one that's Man U's best player is Dallo, and he's in there as well. I think they've got 4 clean sheets, is it, Man U?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Something
but
like
when
that.
it goes wrong for us, it goes really wrong.
Yeah.
But we've kept some clean sheets there, so yeah, not too bad.
So yeah, so you got Dallo at 5 million, 35. I've got him almost set and forget team, and he's doing really well on that one. Then Gabriel at 6, and then Canate at 5 million. Was going to put Trent in there, but I would have to get a weakened midfielder or an attacker, so I went for Canate there at 5 million. It's good value. Then you got midfield, you got Palmer, Mbumo, Salah, Madueke, and Diaz. Um, Quite a very strong midfield. On that,
Nice.
that's be potential some people's wild cards, midfield that. And then you got forward line of Haaland and Welbeck, and the starting 11's combined of 535 points, and that's not even with a captain. So if you captained Haaland every week, then well, you'd be probably number one, maybe around that region. Bench has got 87 points, so you got Fabianski there, he's got 1 point. Chris Ward is the other backup forward, 39, and then Justin and Fires, I can't pronounce it. What Fires?
Just phase.
Phase,
Yeah.
yeah. Phase out. So 4.5, 4 million. Cheap defenders, 29 points because Justin's got obviously 2 goals, and then Faze has got 18 points because he's got a goal as well. So yeah, combined in total for all of them is 622 points. So yeah, it's a pretty strong team, but I hardly doubt anyone's probably got that to start with.
I agree with that. I mean, you're never going for double Man United defense, for an example, but like, is there anyone, but Onana or Dallo being in there doesn't surprise me. Like, one of them could definitely be in there, and I don't think anyone in that team actually surprises me other than I didn't think Canate was going to start the season. Quanta was, and he's in, but instead of him because of the first 45 minutes of the season, which I still deem a very unlucky moment for any Quanta owner. There's only really Welbeck in there that kind of makes me go, really? Like, that's that I didn't see. I would never have even considered him being in the top at the beginning of the season. Scott, your thoughts on that team? Any surprises? And any players I think moving forward in that team that you think are with obviously I know you're not up to the fixtures yet, but any that you think are pretty much must-haves moving forward that are on your radar?
Yeah, I agree. Welbeck's one, isn't he? Like he's done like a couple of games here and there in streaks, but he seems to have a hell of a consistency this season, especially with Pedro being out injured. Yeah, I'd say Dallo maybe just because they've been so poor, and you'd expect a defender. With only 3 defenders there, you'd expect a defender to have a couple of attacking returns, and I'm sure he must have it. It just doesn't come to mind when you think of that. Yeah, I mean, Umbuemo just been consistent all season, just does the business. I would say looking at him, I mean, I got him in my team a couple of weeks ago. He's delivered. Yes, they got Man United away the next game, but that's Man United. They're having a poor season. And then they've got a really nice run of fixtures. So I would say if you've not got him in Buemo, probably not rushing to get him in, or probably not looking at getting them in this week unless you maybe wildcard in. But from the game week 9 onwards, it just seems like you shouldn't have him, not have him. Good English. You can't not have him. There we go. And then a player I kind of wish I have in my team just because, he's doing the business as Palmer. It's just Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal, next 4 fixtures for Chelsea. I'm not getting them in still, but if those fixtures were a bit nicer, if that was like maybe a Man United at home, and maybe not a Liverpool and an Arsenal in there, we're looking at him. But yeah, not too many surprises for me there. Diaz has obviously done the business, and Haaland's Haaland, isn't it?
When you're looking at the Chelsea fixtures, it's a really interesting point on Palmer. So Chelsea's fixtures, like I say, Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, Man U away, Arsenal at home. I mean, they are not easy fixtures for Palmer at all. Leicester away, after that, Villa at home, Southampton away, Spurs away, who obviously aren't that great at the back, Brentford at home, Everton away, Fulham at home, Ipswich away. I look at game week 12 and Palmer on that run of fixtures, it's going to be hard to turn down, isn't he? Let's be honest.
He's also playing for last season. He was doing the business in a poor team. He's doing the business in a team that are playing, winning games and doing well. Yes, they've not had Bar in the first game of the season. they've had a pretty nice opening few fixtures, haven't they? Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, and Forest. But they're still getting the business done, and like a couple of really sort of standout results there. That Wolves one, of course, the Brighton one. But yeah, he's one that I wouldn't be getting in now, but will be getting in that little run there.
So Baz, obviously being on a wild card at this very moment in time, Scott mentioned that Mbeumo would be a nailed-on wild card pick with Man U away, then Ipswich at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, and then Leicester at home. Is he in your wild card?
No, that's probably why I'm doing so poor. No, the reason why is because I want to keep faith in Salah. So I've got obviously quite a lot of money invested in Salah and Haaland, and then I've got another potential premium with Saka. But I could potentially get rid of Saka and get Mbeumo in and have money in the bank or invest it elsewhere. So yeah, so that's a potential option. I'm just going to wait on the team news about Saka on that. But Lee Carter said he was in contention for the Finland
What was it?
Finland squad, but obviously he pulled out because Arsenal requested they wanted him back. So,
I'm not
but yeah,
surprised.
there's other potential Arsenal problems. Obviously, Havertz and Martinelli's had an MRI scan on his calf as well. So, yeah, it's not looking good going leading up to a potential Liverpool game coming up.
I didn't really foresee when we were talking about wild cards at the beginning of the season in game week 8 being a prime spot. I didn't foresee it being as much of a problem as it is in midfield. So I looked at these fixtures at the beginning of the year and I saw Man City and I thought, well, that's easy. I'd be fat, but I can't have phoned in all day long here. And then I looked down at Spurs and I thought I like their fixtures. Son definitely in contention here. That's great. I looked at the cheap midfielders and I thought, well, you've got Rodgers, you've got players like McNeil, obviously, but Gibbs White or whatever else, but Emil Smith Rowe at Fulham. All of these guys are potential options as well as maybe even Eze at Palace. I thought there'd be loads, and obviously I hope to be a Man United option with Garnacho. Man United's fixtures are fantastic. We've got a great run. Um, but I'm kind of struggling because I don't know who I'd put in for City in midfield, if anyone. To be honest, I don't think I could pick a City midfielder to go in. I wouldn't have an Arsenal midfielder in my wildcard team right now with those fixtures: Bournemouth away, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Chelsea being the next three. I think I'd be having funds elsewhere. Salah's the fixtures aren't great again. He's only got 2 green fixtures in the next 7. Obviously, Rodgers, fair enough. Son's injured, but then do you go for Johnson? I'm just really struggling as I go down here. So when you're piecing together your wild card, Baz, um, how did you think about the midfield options?
It was difficult, but obviously Saka returns quite regularly, even in the big games. He doesn't go missing. So that's one reason why I thought, right, I'll keep Saka in because he's on set pieces,
Okay,
he's
team
on
up
free
like that, but
kicks. So it's one of them where I thought, right, I need to have potential Arsenal assets because, like I say, Saka just keeps returning. And I went through a period where I didn't have Saka last season. He was killing me. So I had to obviously invest in him. So and then I wanted a piece of the Arsenal defense, and the only one I could afford was Timber, but obviously he's got a flag on him. So hopefully he's fit. If not, I have to just basically kind of change all my team around to try and get someone else in that for Arsenal. But I didn't really want to spend money on Raya. So yeah, it's really difficult to pick that midfield because obviously my budget as well is not great because half the players I've got have gone down in value. And then a wild card, it gets Smith Rowe in at 5.8, he's gone down now to 5.7. So yay.
I can't believe he's gone down, by the way, because looking at the fixtures and Fulham in terms of XGI, non-penalty, are like 3rd in the league. They're I think a Fulham asset. I think Smith Rowe. When I look at the wild card, when I look at the fixtures, I mean, I just don't see how you don't have him considered as an option when you look at even when you look at the long view. But anyway,
Is it?
Probably
Do you reckon
because
it's because? Do you reckon he didn't start, did he? The last game.
yeah,
He came.
about six.
That'll be why.
yeah, that's the AI picks, isn't it? Do you know why he didn't start the last game though? I don't know.
I think came on for the last 25 minutes. I don't know.
Interesting.
It was City, wasn't it? Away. I'm guessing it was tactical.
Yeah, it must have been.
That's got a lot of easing back in.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say they're coming back in, wouldn't it? The next one. What I will say in this wild card, I really don't mind it, but if you just given me this as your wild card at the start of the season for this game week, honestly, I would have thought a child had done it because honestly, how ridiculous
This is my point.
This
is my point, Scott. Though this is my whole point. When I looked at the beginning of the season, I looked at those fixtures. That's my point.
Yeah.
Mental, isn't it?
I'd be like, why is John O'Shea in there? 2 weeks, Rich, and it's Southampton. But again, I'm not bashing you. Like Delap's been class. Ipswich have looked, not bad at the back, and that Diblin looks brilliant. So yeah, fair play to it. But it's crazy, isn't it? Like you wouldn't have ever expected that.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Let's look at the goalkeepers to start with briefly, Baz, because I know you've done a goalkeeper rotation, and these are your. But I think everyone's got the decision and the choice, haven't they, between whether they go for a couple of rotating keepers or they go for like a Raya and a Fabianski or something along those lines. Especially now Alisson's obviously injured. Well, one of the shouts is maybe to go for Kelleher, but he wasn't even on the bench, was he? Was that why was he not on the bench? Does anybody know? I don't, because he didn't. That other lad came on.
I think he was ill or injured or something.
I bet he's fuming, isn't he? He's got a chance to get on the pitch and he had a cold. so annoyed, isn't he? So talk us through this, Barry, briefly, because we've got goalkeeper rotation on the screen here for podcast listeners from game week 8 through to game week 19. Over to you.
So the rotation, you've got Verbergen or Henderson. You could have them two. That's who I've gone for. You could also have Verbergen and Ramsdale. But the problem is you've got an issue with game week 14. You're going to start Ramsdale in goal at Chelsea at home, or you're going to have Fulham away for Verbruggen. So it's a difficult one on that one. But if you want to save that 0.1 million, then with how aggressive the price changes have been, then you can potentially do that. Then the other one is, I said from the start, Leicester and Bournemouth had very good rotation. I was tempted to go for that, but I think looking at it in the hindsight, Palace and Brighton probably got more chance of getting clean sheets than Bournemouth and Leicester. No offense to them, but I just think defensively Palace will probably be a lot better now. Gay is coming back and obviously played well for England. So for me, I've stayed with Verbruggen and Henderson for my goalkeepers. But you can always potentially look for Raya and Fabianski or Jaros, for example, if Kelly is still injured. So yeah, but you're wasting the Liverpool asset again, Jaros in at 4 million. So yeah, for me, the picks from there would be Henderson and Verbruggen.
Scott, anything to add on that front?
Oh, it's interesting. Maybe a little walking talk. No, I like it. Yeah, I think we're all in there for a couple of seasons now. Is that team don't spend all your money on keepers? How many clean sheets have Man City kept in the league this season?
One, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, first game against Chelsea.
Crazy. Yeah, mentally bad, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, and the only teams really looking at defences for clean sheets are Liverpool and Arsenal. Really, I think, from what I can remember off the top of my head. So you and with Alisson being out, Keller would be a bit more of a short.
Or you could gamble and have Onana since he's kept 4 clean sheets, I think. So
it's very true, and the fixtures do look good at a 5 million keeper. It's just interesting how you I think you either go Raya and a 4 mil, or you go for these rotations if you're on a wild card. That's my take on that front.
I think with keepers as well, it's just it's the luckiest position game week after game week. If your keeper has a worldie and gets 3 or 4 saves, you're just lucky, really, aren't you, with the keeper position?
Look at that Pickford, 1 penalty save, get that clean sheet, 15 points. So it skewed his points total against all the rest of them for so much.
Looking at England.
Wow.
They're flat happy.
Hey, it was playing a sweeper role, wasn't he?
Got to get an England jibe in just because we didn't win all our games, mate. I don't think you won yours, did you? Did you draw your first one?
No, we should have done. To be fair, we were bossing
Yeah.
Iceland 2-0, and then same again, same tactics as against Montenegro. Quality in first half, second half, sit back and absorb the pressure. I'm
I
sure
thought you've been
Bellamy's
watching England, have you? Under
Yeah,
Southgate.
Southgate in design, isn't he?
Bellamy ball, mate. That
Either
one.
way,
That's
a
what it is.
waistcoat next international break.
Have a look at this defensive rotation then, Barry. This are your defenders that you've picked in for your team, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, I did have Maswari in, but obviously he's injured with heart problems, probably because Eric Ten Hag sent him over the edge. So yeah, for me, it's Timber. Obviously, Arsenal very good in defence, as we know. When the fixtures aren't great, but look, they're quite solid, and it's very rare that they get chances against them. Scott will probably prove me wrong about how many times they get chances against them now. So Fulham as well, Anderson at 4.4. Thought I'd jump on that bandwagon before he goes up to 4.5. Solid defender and is also an aerial threat. And as Scott mentioned last season, he loves a crossfield pass. He loves spreading it. And then obviously Dara O'Shea, not John O'Shea, thought he's a good aerial threat as well. And then Van der Ven, as we know, he's an athlete, so and potentially can play left back, but Doggy's back now, so yeah, so Van der Ven's on there, and then Ain't Nori, just attacking threat, 4.4, thought get him in, and then the fixtures changed slightly again, week 18, so I could either get rid of the Ipswich player and go straight swap for a 4 million player with Jan Brennak, or get rid of Ain't Nori and save 4.4%, 4.4%, 0.4 million and invest that elsewhere. So yeah, it's there's not really a lot to go. You need an Arsenal asset for me in defence, especially with how good they've been defensively. So, and then gone cheap elsewhere and to invest it in midfield and attack.
Go on, Scott.
Two things. Number one, was there no picture of Dara O'Shea on Google?
There is no. It's because someone might want another 4 million asset for us. Obviously, Greaves has gone up now to 0.1. So,
All right,
so I thought
I'll let you off.
keep it vague. So just in case someone fancied Greaves over O'Shea. So that was my take on it.
I respect it. I've just really hated all of a sudden that Timber bit when I've looked at stuff and really sat back and thought about it. I get where you're going from. He's 0.5 cheaper than Gabriel and Saliba, isn't he? And I'm like, yeah, that's not too bad. And then I've actually just looked like defensively, Arsenal have been great, have they? 2 clean sheets all season, is it? And one in the last 5. No, 3 clean sheets, one in the last 5. And then you look at Liverpool, they're the ones that have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clean sheets in their 7 games. So actually, should we maybe be looking at a Liverpool asset? Is there any that we could get him?
Yeah, I think when I look at it, it's very similar to you, Scott, in that sense. I like the Raya pick at the same price as Timber, and then the Canate pick at 5 mil. Like, yeah, I think you can. Oh, the left back keeps getting rotated at Liverpool. Obviously, you'd love to have Trent if you could afford him, but it's just he's not massively out. I mean, I don't know how many more points has he got than Canate this season, Baz? Do you know?
Not many, about 3, I think.
Yeah. So, and Canate played half a game less, didn't he? So I look at that and think Canate is probably the player I'd have in over Timber in that lot, and then I'd probably then have Raya as my keeper because I do think Arsenal, you still need a piece of their defence. I think that's having one of theirs is better. I think double's not necessary, obviously, because they've playing 3 clean sheets. But I like a piece of the Liverpool defence. If Alisson was still fit, I'd have gone Alisson in goal on a wild card. But just when he pulled his hamstring, I was devastated. Looking at the rest of these defenders, Baz, the Ain't Nori pick's great. Wolves' fixtures are fantastic after game week 8. He's got 2 9-point hauls back to back against Liverpool and Brentford. He, for me, at 4.4 mil, is definitely on a wild card for me. I'd be having Ain't Nori in. The Van der Ven pick again, I do like. I nearly put him in to start the season at 4.5. he was on that list to start with. But yeah, I like those guys in terms of picks. Can I compare them to the form? So let's have a look at the form graphic that you've put together, Barry. So these are the informed defenders currently in the league. I mean, the fact that Dallow's there at 6.5 just blows my mind. But Gabriel at 6.2, Justin obviously if he's 2 goals, 6.2. Then it's Canate, De Ligt, Trent at 5.2, then Gahey, Van Dijk and Eight Nuri. Anyone else on this list here, Baz, that you've considered putting into your wild card? You tried to squeeze Gabriel in anywhere or anything like that?
Yeah, I tried that, but then I have to sacrifice potentially one of my midfielders or an attacking option, and maybe downgrade a Watkins for like a Havertz. But obviously Havertz is injured, and it's very difficult because, as I mentioned, I haven't got a lot of team value because how I set my team up and I kept Quansah too much, and my value of my whole team went. So very hard for me to do a wild card. That's why I've gone Timber and not had Timber and Allison or Allison and then Raya or Canate because I physically can't afford it. Tried that and I was like, well, I'm losing on potential midfielders. I have to downgrade a Rogers to like a Carvalho or something like that, even though it's a great shout. But Rogers just looks, he passes the eye test,
Mhm.
and Carvalho has been in and out of the team. So for me, I think it's them because the others are just too high on the price brackets for me. Apart from Justin, but I don't think I'm ever going to invest in a 4.5 defender for Leicester, unfortunately.
4.6 now as well.
Oh, is it? Well,
Yeah. Canate at 5.2, Trent at 7.1. Canate has got 4 points less than Trent this season, and that's it.
and plus as
Um,
well, Gay is 4.4 mil, I think, and he was potentially on there if I change my keeper
yeah.
rotation. And have a Palace defender, but I've got a Palace keeper, so I don't want double Palace defense.
Yeah, absolutely not. I really like the pick of I say of Eight Nori at 2.6% owned. I think he's a really good differential. And then yeah, Canate up to 11.9. It's not too bad. Van der Ven at 10.8. Yeah, so not so bad, not so bad. Let's have a look at midfield options, shall we? And let's start by looking at let's have a look at the form first, and then we'll have a look at the captaincy matrix. So Cole Palmer, top of there, McNeil, Saka, Martinelli, and Bumo. Johnson, Madison, Ruta, and Harvey Barnes.
Fine.
Uh, there's just no shocks there, is there? Really? After we've had a talk about this already. I mean, obviously McNeil being up there is a little bit shocking. You would have thought at the big start of the season, but yeah, there's no one really that stands out. And until you maybe get to Brennan, but he's looked really good in the team. Baz, any of these lads? Who's your midfielders on your wild card? Let's get these guys up. Sorry. Salah,
Got
Saka,
Rodgers.
Dibbling, Rogers, and Smith Rowe.
Yeah, it's one of them where I'm thinking, shall I get rid of Smith Rowe and get Rutter in because he looks pretty good and Brighton's fixtures are not bad. Or get like a Barnes, but I don't think I'll be able to afford Barnes. So it's difficult in the price bracket that I've got to get a potential player unless I get rid of Salah. But I don't want to get rid of Salah because I still want to keep Salah and Haaland unless I get rid of Saka. But as you can see, there is 7.5 on form. And then do I give the risk of getting rid of Saka and go for Foden, my favourite? Uh, Probably not. Don't want to go down that route again. So yeah, for me, it I might change it by the time it comes to it. I won't be surprised if I do. So yeah, so it's very difficult wild card, and as you mentioned for the midfield, because there's that many different options and no one performing really well for City. It's difficult at the moment.
Scott, can I ask you your opinion on a couple of the players on that list? I mean, we talked about sort of McNeil already in this and Bumo as well. I want your opinion on the Spurs boys and Martinelli as picks moving forward. We'll start with the Spurs lads and having a look at their fixtures moving forward. They've got West Ham at home, Palace away, Villa at home, Ipswich at home before they have City away in game week 12. So the next four are all decent fixtures, three of which are at home. Johnson in his last games has got 7, 11, and 7 in terms of returns. Madison, he has got 12, 3, and 10. Are we just sort of skipping over these guys? Should we be looking at them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think everyone's just waiting for Brendan Johnson's little patch to be over, but you've been burnt in the past by that and thinking this guy's patch is going to be over. And actually, he just kind of sustains it for the whole season. And Johnson can do that. He's got the talent to do that. So, especially with Son being injured, there's no danger of him getting any kind of rotation there. I mean, he wouldn't there anyway, this perfect patch of form. But he's going to play in every game. So, yeah, I mean, if they were both evenly priced, you'd maybe looking at a toss up between the both. Madison's quite creative and seems to be getting some more assists, but then Johnson gets more goals. But for the almost nine hundred k price difference, sorry, 900k
900,
price
yeah.
difference, you've got to go for Brendan Johnson there. And I think Brendan Johnson is a player that I don't think I'm going to wildcard this week, and I think I might just get Brendan Johnson in as a transfer for someone. The fixtures look good. The Spurs, they're always going to create chances, and Johnson's on a hot streak. Yes, he's probably going to then do the typical thing where he'll, get a yellow card and get subbed after 58 minutes. But it is what it is. He's not like he's been getting little tapping goals or a little deflection in the goal. They've been clean, lovely goals, and he's playing with confidence. So, yeah, I would personally be getting Brendan Johnson. I don't see the value in Madison at 0.9. If Johnson picks an injury up, if this today and he's ruled out, he absolutely would be looking at Madison though. And yeah, I think for Martinelli, he's a bit of a rotation risk. As he didn't play the last game, got lucky, came on, scored. So he's got that rotation risk and some really, really hard fixtures coming up for Arsenal. So he would be ahead of them for me. So for me this week, I think I'm going Johnson for Martinelli.
Yeah,
Johnson did come off at half time against Iceland with a precautionary injury, and he was suspended for the Montenegro game. So I don't know how injured he is. So
I'm
just bear that in mind.
keep an eye on it, but I'm sure like they're so cautious at the international level now. They're so scared of the managers kicking him. So I think he'll be fine on that one. But yeah, just wait and see, I guess.
Final player on there, just to touch on because we spent age on this. I think Ruter has started the last four for Brighton. Yeah, last four for Brighton. And he's
Yeah.
got 7 and 11 in games against Chelsea and Spurs. The fixture's just too bad to consider him. Not Newcastle away, Wolves at home, Liverpool away, City at home. They're just too poor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame really, because he's looked quite good. And in two tough games as well. Like he's done pretty well, to be fair to him.
Definitely a good option to get in draft.
Yeah, yeah. Let's look at the budget midfielders. Barry.
Do you want to
You
get
did a
attackers on that?
what on? Well, let's do mids first, then we'll go to attackers,
Okay.
and then because I want to put in the captaincy rotation with the Haaland chat in the attackers, so
Okay.
I want to put those all together in one. Midfielder wildcard options on the budget. So you've put down here Rogers, Semenya, Carvalho, McNeil, Smith Rowe, Calvin Hudson-Odoi, Dibbling, Paqueta, and who's that from Wolves at the bottom?
Bellegarde.
Bellegarde. Big fan of Bellegarde because they're great fixtures.
So yeah, these are all under 6 million because my budget's very strict. So my hands are tied with that. So I can't really do much more than 6 million. So it's one of them where I'm looking at who's got the good rotation for the budget midfielders, and obviously Dibbling's going to be staying in there at 4.5 because he's playing and he's looking lively. So it's who the other two who I'm going to go for. Am I going to, because at the moment I've got Rodgers and Smith Rowe, so I might go actually let's get rid of Smith Rowe because the game week 13 it's Tottenham and Chelsea, but that's where I could transfer and get maybe Bellegarde in and save a bit of money, or because obviously Wolves fixtures look really good. So it's one of them to just give people options to have a look at going, oh, I've got all the players I want. I need a midfielder space. I've only got 5.5 million left. Right, who can I get? Oh, Hudson-Odoi or or well, Paqueta's 5.9 now, or Carvalho at 4.8, or Bellegarde at 5 million. Because it's difficult with Wolves because Cunha it scores a lot of goals and it is the most important player for Wolves. And Larsson's getting some goals now as well. But every time I've seen Bellegarde play, he's played out on the wing and he's looked creative and looked lively. So that's one reason why I put him in there. And he's only 5 million, is probably under 1%, knowing me as well. So yeah, I thought he was a good potential differential, especially with the Wolves fixtures going up. And I think he plays on the left as well, so he'll be linking up with Eight Nori quite a lot. So yeah, I thought he might be a decent pick for someone.
I think on this list of these players, I think Hudson-Odoi seems to be a rotation risk for some reason, and it seems to be in and out a lot. I think I'm a bit of a wait and see still on the Wolves lads for Bellegarde. I do agree with the Cunha and the Strand Larsen pick there. Strand Larsen at 5.5 still seems really good value as maybe a third striker. We've got a Delapse in as options, but they're not too bad. I think Paqueta's just a wait and see on that one, but the rest of them. I like it, and this is back, I think, game week 13. So right at the end of that good run for Carvalho, I think he seems like a good outside low pick as well. And then Rogers, you've got, I think, somebody there that you might end up having for the season if you've got him already. Let's say, for example, if you bought him at 5 million, he is somebody who you could keep for the whole season. He's just going to keep going up and up in value, and he's a great enabler. So good graphic for this one. Put it on the socials after Baz, and I think it really helps people piece together what they're going to be doing moving forward. But yeah, I like those as options. Let's talk about the attackers then, shall we? Let's have a look at the form on these guys. In terms of attack, we've got Watkins top with 8 in terms of his form. Then we've got Raul Jimenez. Great to see Raul back up there after his head injury. Really pleased to see that. Even Rodrigo Muniz out the team as well. And he, at the beginning of the season, was somebody who was an absolute one of the big picks.
What did I say? Muniz one season wonder.
Well, feels that way. He's not getting back in, is he?
He scored though, didn't he? He came on and scored, didn't he? But he's playing really well, isn't he, Jimenez? So yeah, keep him in there. It's 5.5 or 5.6 something like that million.
Yeah,
So
I think it's 5.6 now. Yeah, he's done fantastically well. You've got Haaland there, obviously, to be after. Nick Jackson's looking really good. And then we've got Antonio and then and Mateus Cunha doing bits as well. So yeah, those guys seem to be doing all right. Baz, your choice on your wild card for strikers? Where are you at?
so I've got Dalap because obviously just he bullied people and Ipswich's fixtures going forward look pretty good. It was either him or Larson, and
Okay.
I've gone for Dalap just because he got a good fixture Everton. I could transfer him out and get Larson in next week if I wanted to, or bank that transfer. So yeah, so for me, Watkins is looking really good. He did well in internationals as well when he came on. He's looked lively, got an assist. So he's a must for me. I think he's back on it, and I want to get on that bandwagon. I had him before my wild card anyway, so I wanted to stay on that bandwagon and ride the train out. So hopefully he can be consistent. And obviously Haaland, I think it's a no-brainer. Yeah, you could gamble and not have Haaland and Salah, a bit like what Martin's done at the FPL affair. He's gambled without having Salah and Haaland, and he had a phenomenal week because he put Cunha in and someone else who performed really well, and he got really high in the game week rankings. So yeah, shout out to Martin Murray.
I think from a Haaland perspective on a wild card, I mean, we'll do this now in terms of the captaincy matrix. But I mean, it'd be absolutely insanity. I think I mean, as much as I like people going for things that are a little bit different. I think Haaland is obviously really expensive. He's the top scoring player in the game so far this year, equal with Palmer, and his fixture run is just it's quality. I mean, Wolves away, Southampton at home, potential triple captain as you've picked out here, Baz. Bournemouth away, Brighton away, fine Spurs at home. Then he's got the Liverpool away fixture in game week 13. But other than the Liverpool away fixture and maybe Villa away in game week 17, I think he's a captain option every week up until game week 19.
Mm.
He's just, and I look at some of the other premiums. I look at Palmer for the next 4. I look at the Saka from 9 through 11. Even Watkins for me is still a little bit too inconsistent this season to probably consider as an outright captain option. And even someone like Salah, I mean, like I say, he's got 2 green fixtures in his next 7. If you've got one premium and one premium only, it's Haaland for me. Scott,
I
what do you
think
think?
people are just so recency biased. It's ridiculous. Oh, Haaland's not scored in 2 games. Oh, I'm going to do something really cool and drop him. And then you have one good fixture, one good game week, and then you sat there with a cigar in your mouth. Well, fine. Have the cojones to keep doing that then, and not bring him back in. And we'll see where you're at the end of the season. 'Cause I tell you what, if you do that, you won't be winning any mini leagues. Salah and Haaland are blanked in the last, 2 game weeks. Let's not all have a massive cry about it. And let's be realistic and go, they're bloody good players. And they're always up there. So, yes, it might be cool and fun one week to go, oh, I'm going to drop them and bring in a Cunha and a Strand Larson for a Wolves team that's not won any games. But actually, in the long run, the only people that'll be laughing at you is yourself when you look in the mirror.
I I think when you look at captaincy matrix as well, really importantly, with a wild card in game week 10, it's Salah or Haaland. Those are the 2 choices really. And then when you get to game week 13, that's where the only one where that's the only week where I look at it and go, there's you know, uh, that's not a fixture I really want to be captaining him in. But even game week 15, you'd captain him. Just yeah, think it's great. One triple captaincy option as well. You really don't like Southampton, do you, Baz, with these circles?
No, too many chances. The Dortmund as well playing out the back and he can't play out the back. It's just frightening. Luckily, they've got Ramsdale now who actually goes, no, nothing's on. I'm just kicking it long to where Russell Martin's discussed, but it's the right option. You can't always play short.
He's going to beat it out of him, mate. He's going to beat it out of him.
Probably will do, and then Ramsdale will be doing a McCarthy soon against Southampton when I probably might be using my triple captain on Haaland.
Well, I mean, imagine not having Haaland for Southampton at home. I'll be honest, right? And I have this said, and this is going to sound like a little bit of a moan, but last season, for an example, I went against Haaland in certain fixtures, like for example, when he had Crystal Palace at home. This year I went for him, Fulham at home. I was like, no, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Like, just go with Haaland at home. He's got a home fixture against Fulham. Just go with Haaland in a home fixture. And he doesn't get me any points. And then I would have gone for Saka as the other option. He gets 16. It's just luck, lads. It's just pure luck. That's all that is. Like, in terms of expected points and all the AI and the history and Haaland's goal scoring, Haaland was the top point scorer that game week. But Southampton, Saka at home, absolutely not the wrong choice to go for him as captain. In fact, the right choice to go for him as captain. It's just luck. And like you say, Scott, you can sit there with your cigar in your mouth for a week if you want to, but I just think in terms of the long term, and we're talking about wildcard specific here. If you wildcard right now and don't wildcard Haaland in, it's just
You may as well delete the game.
just delete your team. I think, or because you don't deserve it. You might Wolves away. You might get away with one return and be thinking, it's fine. Sorry, Southampton at home. Good luck. All the best. see how you get on. And if you manage to avoid without a return against there, it's just dumb luck. That's all it is. But yeah, we're trying to play this game to optimally as possible. If there's any premiums for me, he's the premium. And then you're looking in game week 12, I think, for someone like Palmer to come in at that point. And yeah, like it's just interesting. Watkins maybe from that point as well. Game week 12 is probably the other point where you're looking at wildcarding. If you're not wildcarding this week, that sort of time before the 3 game weeks are together. So yeah, I like that. Anything else to add on strikers, Baz? Have I gone through all of the
Yeah, you're happy with the form strikers.
but yeah,
Didn't
I
talk,
think we
didn't talk much about it because we said about Raul Jimenez, didn't we?
yes. So rest of the form strikers we'll round it with Antonio there, keeping Fulker out of the team. Cunha in there as well. Was he on the outskirts of a thought process with the fixtures that they've got coming up and the fact that he is still returning even in a really bad Wolves team?
He was, but he plays more as a winger, like free role kind of player. Whereas Lawson plays more as the centre forward. So if he was a midfielder, yes, he would definitely be on the radar. But as a forward, I'm like, I don't know. It's still a kind of wait and see on that one. But he has started being more clinical because I was really scrutinising him last season. He passed the eye test massively, but he just couldn't get the end product. And now he's starting to add that. So he could potentially be someone's potential differential, but he's not in my team at this moment. I've got obviously the lap, but I might change that. I might go somewhere else.
I think when we're looking at team structures as well here, I'm just going to get up the Premier League,
Just,
Fantasy
just,
Premier League. Sure.
just while you're doing that, no idea how O'Neill's still in a job.
It's because of the poor fixtures at the beginning of the season. It's literally the fixtures that have saved him. I
What
mean,
about the fixtures at the end of last season, which he lost?
well, I don't know, but the next run that he's got, I mean, he's got to get points before the next international break badly. Otherwise, he is in trouble. Yeah, definitely. Those fixtures are so good. He's got no excuse. If they don't start returning. And to be fair, I think statistically they don't look like they're gonna. Um,
While
to,
we're talking about seconds, we best not mention Eric Ten Hag. He might be getting sacked soon.
he's never getting sacked, mate. He's never leaving.
I mean,
Um,
Fergie's been sacked for him, so
Fergie's literally
Tu-
had his contract cut before Ten Hag. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
unbelievable.
Tuchel might be coming in, or he might be getting the England job. So yeah,
yeah. I'll take him in.
So,
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, I think he's probably when you talk about who's the best manager available on the market right now, no matter what of nationality, it's probably him, isn't it? Let's
Not
be
Big Sam.
honest. Or Big Sam. Yeah, get Big Sam in. Yeah, get redemption after his one game.
Yeah.
Um,
Comes out with a pint of gravy and a pint of wine and just necks it all and just like squares up to like the Moldovan coat. That would be brilliant.
just laughs at them all when they're diving. I still think that's
but
one of my favorite
getting
videos.
Everett.
I listen. So, when I had that when I went to that dinner with Sam Allardyce, he was so salty about that England thing. It was hilarious.
Sorry, was that just sounded like you and Sam Allardyce went for a dinner then, by the way?
We basically did. It was only about 40 of us. I actually spoke to him. He was salty.
Did you call him Big
Quick,
Sam?
yeah, I did actually. Yeah, and he was like Big Al. No, I'm joking. He didn't know my
No,
name,
no
did he?
comment. No comment on that one.
I wish he did know my name. That'd be nice. Sam, love me, love me. Someone called him Mr. Allardyce and shook his hand before me. He laughed in his face. Anyway, so the Wildcard team from Premier League experts, they've gone for Onana and Fabianski, Gabriel, Lewis, Collins, Aitnuri and Greaves, Palmer, Saka and Bumo, Johnson and Rogers, Haaland, Welbeck and Delap. No arguments for that. To be fair, I think all of that seems fair, especially with the way Lewis is being quite versatile at this very moment in time. The only thing I would say is that there's no Liverpool defenders in there, and they've got the best defense in the league. So, don't not a massive.
The problem is they've got the two premiums, Saka and Palmer. Obviously, look to the fixtures going forward, but they are consistent with point scoring. So, yeah.
But yeah, that's the compromise up top with those teams. And then I looked at the AI wildcard team, the best AI wildcard team. Interested. So they've gone for Haaland Woods, a very different team, like a very different team. So Muric and Flecken, the goalkeepers. Gabriel, Gvardiol, and Lewis. So they've gone for no Liverpool defenders and double City defence. Because City have got good fixtures, to be fair. Yeah, they've got good fixtures, to be fair, but it is horrible that. Like, don't blame the Lewis pick at 4.7. He's not exactly a bad pick, is he? You've got him, Scott, haven't you, Lewis?
Yeah, but all season, yeah.
I think just a good pick. He's cheap and he plays every week for City. He's not exactly a bad signing. But Palmer, Gordon, Eze, and Bumo, and then Haaland, Wood, and Solanke. O'Shea and Dibbling, both in there. Baz,
Yeah.
your boys, and Greaves. Any comments on these two teams, Barry? Anything to throw in them? And we haven't really mentioned Chris Wood and Solanke as options, have we?
Yeah, Chris Wood's got three good fixtures coming up, but after that, it turns a bit for Forest. Eze, though, as we all keep saying, he passes the eye test, but he's not getting the end product there at the moment. It's been extremely unlucky. So yeah, it could be a good differential. I bet he's probably easily under 5% owned. And Solanke with Spurs fixtures going forward as well. Good option, 7.6 million.
Do you know, did you say Eze is 15% owned?
Is
15.2
it?
still.
Wow,
Yeah,
shocked at
15.2.
how high he is on that. I thought
XG
everyone was
XG
selling him
has it.
after he didn't perform well. Must be all
So
them
that,
dead accounts.
have you seen that? Have you seen that meme where it's Little Britain and he's up in a tree and he turns around and says, "How did you get there?" And everything's memed like when a crap team's winning the league. That's how I feel about Eze being in this team right now. Like he's looked all right. He was unlucky to start the season, but he's pining for Elise, isn't he? And he's pining for Mateta from last season. Like the Palace look pathetic this season. They have looked so bad. Them and Wolves are disgusting
I just
at
looked
the
at
minute.
their
I really,
results.
yeah, horrible,
So bad.
horrendous. What are they doing? And honestly, like, I really hope that them two go down with Forest because I hate Forest, and all the promoted teams stay up because they're disgusting.
Scott's bottom three of Wolves, Forest, and Crystal Palace.
Yeah, get
Um,
rid of them all. O'Neill, someone gets sacked.
yeah, O'Neill's it doesn't stand a chance, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's covered off all those bits and bats. There's no one else there to mention, I don't think. Um, let's have a look at the fixture, shall we? For this week. And deadline 11 o'clock this Saturday, 19th of October. Pay a very, very, very close eye. Pay close attention to the news conferences, and there is Premier Fantasy Tools does a really good roundup of the press conference summaries on a Friday evening. So that's a good one to look at if you've got 1 minute's worth of time to spend on it. That's good rather than reading through all of the reports and watching all of the videos. I still recommend. I get the newsletter every Friday, and I'll sit down with a glass of wine, click on it, and it tells me who's injured or not. So it's well worth doing.
And
But 11,
do you cry into your wine as well when you see that all your players are flagged?
uh,
Like Will
yeah,
Ferrell.
it's poor over my face. Devastated. Not even on the first page of my own league. 72nd or whatever. They remember first page.
Gee.
Spurs West Ham first kickoff 12:30. TNT Sports if you've got it and you want to watch it. Fulham Villa, Ipswich Everton, Man United Brentford. Come on the Devils. Newcastle Brighton, Southampton Leicester. Not a big game at all. That Jesus. And Bournemouth Arsenal live on Sky Sports. Wolves City, Liverpool Chelsea Super Sunday. That should be a good game. And Forest against Crystal Palace on Monday Night Football, which I'm looking forward to watching all the analysis of and not the actual match. So, I literally will watch the analysis 7 till 8, put the kids to bed, and then turn it back on again at 10 o'clock. I literally won't watch the game. I promise you. Captaincies. Who sticks out there? City against winless Wolves, potentially. Arsenal away at Bournemouth. They're away fixtures, though, Scott. Does that make you feel uncomfortable? Or are they the obvious choices?
Yeah, they're the obvious choices. I need to stop being so obsessed with home fixtures. I feel really addicted to them, actually. It's really bad. I feel really sick looking at my team this week. There's only away fixtures in there. But yeah, taking the concept, taking it as one set of us, like one set stroke, yeah.
Okay, Scott. I can't
Take,
see. I can't see your cameras off. So it's making.
is
I
it?
can't, yeah, it is. I can't see you.
Oh, all right. I don't know. That's doing off. How long has that been off?
Oh,
Sorry.
ages. I thought you were looking at something else.
Oh no, I'm just excited. I'm thinking about Saka. No, for me, you've got to have probably Saka. Martinelli's too much of a risk if you've got him for a rotation. So Saka, but Wolves look so bad, like so bad. So for me, you've got to captain Haaland this week. I think if it was like Chelsea from like last season, like middle of this time last season, probably Salah because Chelsea looks as bad as anyone away from home. But they seem to be sort of turning that around. But I still don't think actually a Salah would be an horrendous pick, really. But yeah, I think you've got to look at Haaland.
Baz, any other shouts in captaincy?
I mean, most of the people will be Haaland or Saka. And you could potentially look at maybe Vardy,
Come on, I'm
maybe
excited for this.
Southampton.
Vardy.
Hey, they've scored in every game this season, Leicester. Leicester have never not
Oh
scored in a game
no!
yet. It's
Yeah,
mental.
Oh
so
no!
You
I
could
know, but
potentially
I love
potentially go
it.
for
Like
that, or
no one in the world's captain Vardy. Well, they are because idiots, but like
yeah, they'll probably triple captain and
Vardy.
they'll go on like a hat trick or something
Yeah.
like that.
Uh,
Or the Ipswich Everton. I think that's going to be potential goal feast.
oh,
So it'd
Delap.
probably be 0-0. So yeah, so potentially Delap or McNeil, maybe, just for the
Vardy.
crazy shout of the weeks for me.
To be fair,
2 goals in 7 games.
you talked about that chap though, didn't you? FPL affair. I mean, he can't captain Ireland, can he? So I mean, Delap it
No.
is.
Yeah. Good luck, lads.
It might be
Delap.
Captain Pickford, I think.
I mean, well, he's not keeping a clean sheet, is he? I don't think. Delapo, 12 and 6 his last 2 games. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all.
Oh, he's looked brilliant, hasn't he? I like that. He's good.
Me too. Well, do you know the one player though that you're absolutely guaranteed to have in your differential draft this week, Scott? Mavadidi with that fixture against Southampton. He's going to be your first pick at 1.2% today.
Yeah, it feels
Guaranteed.
like he probably will be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the sort of player you need. Jamie Vardy, you can't even have him differential draft, mate. He's 11.6% owned. That's what I was looking
Oh,
for.
Vardy, what an horrendous shout.
24 points this season. Buonanotte scored
I've
more
got,
points than him.
I've got him in draft, mate. I know how many points he's got this season. He's not been pulling up trees, but yeah, maybe Mbuemo away at Man U. They're crap, aren't
Hey, come on. last dig before we finish the podcast. Wanted one quick fire question, and I want to put it to both of you, because it is a question that I have been asked. So, if you have to pick one Manchester City midfielder to put in your wildcard team, yeah, but sending hands straight away. If you have to, it's a question asked by a listener, so I've got to ask the question: who would you pick, Man City midfielder?
they? Only one, Baz.
Wildcarded. The only one.
Oh,
Can't do
it's,
your
it's
usual thing of naming everyone.
Gundogan, Savinho, Doku. Um, I'll probably have to say Foden.
I love it. I would go for Gundogan. Gundogan.
Oh God, yeah. Do you know what though? If I had a gun to my head and I had to pick one, I would go Foden. And only because I think De Bruyne is out for a bit. He's got a higher ceiling. I feel like he could. I feel like he can do. He has the ability to do bits. If not, I would go for Kovacic. Yes, he's
Yeah,
five
for
point
five
five
point
mil.
five.
He's cheap and he wouldn't blow my budget. That's actually why I would go for him. Because he's probably going to play most games as well. So yeah, for gun to bed, it's Foden. So thanks for tuning in this week, everybody. We will put our differential draft teams up for game week 8 because we're going to do them after this because I want to try to keep this as close to an hour as I could do. So I had a lot to cover. We will be seeing Scott picking first with Mavadidi pick, unfortunately. I'll be picking second and Baz will be picking third. So I want you to send in your differential draft teams to Barry if you are taking part in that as well. We'll be doing ours and publishing them later on. Thanks ever so much for joining us this week. Barry, where in the world are you, by the way? I didn't start with
Bristol.
that. Bristol. Bristol.
Active listening, Alex. Come on, he mentioned this earlier.
He did. He was the wrong side of the bridge, the right side of the bridge, I should say. The right side of the bridge. Wrong side for Baz, but right side for us. Scott, thanks for joining us. Nice tan.
Yeah, it's faded now. I might have to get to the beds.
Well, I think you look beautiful anyway, mate. I think we all look wonderful today. And Barry, you'll get a tan, I'm sure, at one point in your life. At some point.
I'm more red than I'm boiling there. It's eating now.
Yeah, I didn't get a tan pumpkin picking, I'm afraid, but never mind. But yes, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you to all of the listeners for tuning in and still being with us at this point in the podcast. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, All4Pod, All4P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Do not forget to give us 5 stars where you get your podcasts from. And also, don't forget to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. That's all for this week. Green arrows all around. Good luck, everybody, and goodbye for now.